We've been getting some stuff done here on the airplane. I've got some of the pulleys put in. There's the one there for the rudder on the right side. We got the one there under that front bracket for the elevator put in. That pulley there for the forward elevator cable, that was kind of a pain in the butt to get in. The bracket for it was way too tight and you couldn't get the pulley in at first. And then it's got two brackets that go on the sides of it, or keepers that go on the sides of it to hold the cable in it, to keep it from slopping around, and those wouldn't fit on, and I could get one on and couldn't get the other. So I took some wooden oak wedges, some little wooden oak wedges, and drove in there and kept driving them in until I got that wide enough for that pulley to fit in there good. It's in there now, turns free. Anyway, that pulley is in, and that's working. I'm kind of getting pieces put together for the torque tube so I can kind of lay out where the cable runs go, so I can cut the holes for the passageway through the bulkhead there underneath the back seat. And same way with the rudder cables. Okay, I got the pulleys put in for the trim cables. There's a little bushing for that wire indicator, and I'm going to have to do something underneath the rear of that baggage compartment, because that takes a pretty good jog there going up and runs into that baggage compartment. And I noticed on the pictures that I got of the airplanes that Alaska Airframes was doing that they have a little piece of UHMW riveted on there to the back of that to kind of hold that wire down. There's two pulleys there for the trim system, and then above that upper pulley is where the bushing goes for the trim wire. There's the bushings in for the rudder cables. Cleaned out the little pockets for them, the little tubing that's welded on there for the guides. I cleaned that out and then put some Rust-Oleum in there, let it dry, and then I coated it with Peralcatone, then put those in, and then put a little Peralcatone around the ring there, because the ring is just, I don't know, it's CAD plated steel or whatever, but it's just plain steel, so it can get rusted, especially back here. So everything will get coated with Peralcatone before we're done. Kind of come to a little bit of a problem area here now. The next step is to put those other pulleys and stuff in, and to put that vertical fin on. I need to get the jack screw put in. I want to do it first because it's easier to do now with nothing else interfering with it. Run into a little bit of a problem there. There's the tube, the top tube for the jack screw, and it fits down in there okay. It was tight before, but I cleaned that out with the wire brush and everything and brushed it all out, and it fits in there pretty good. But this lower tube down here doesn't line up. See that tube? A little bit cockeyed, and there's a little over a 32nd of an inch off on that one side there. Okay, see, there's a jack screw in the upper tube. It comes through it okay. It's kind of rough going through there, but I can polish that up a little bit. But it doesn't match up in that lower jack screw at all. That tube there, that's supposed to be a bushing for that, is on there canted a little bit, and it's off. Now I don't know whether the top one is canted or the bottom one is canted, or both of them is canted. I don't really have any way to check, and it doesn't really make any difference, but I don't want to force that in there. You can see that right there. There's a little over a 32nd of an inch gap there on that one side, so it's off quite a bit. So I've got to figure out some way to get that bored out so that it will run true. I can't, like I said, I can't force it in there. I don't want to force it in there. I could thread it in there like that until I got it in, but there's enough problems with these things, steel on steel, with them freezing up after they sit for a while as it is, without adding another twist on it. Now I'm afraid if I ream it out, it's going to wind up being oversized and be sloppy. No, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Now these are steel on steel, and they probably should have a brass bushing or bronze bushing in them anyway, because when they sit, especially here around the salt air and stuff, they have a tendency to get rust in there and freeze up. I had a nipple put in here on this top bushing so I could squirt grease in there once in a while to keep that lubed up. But I didn't realize that that bottom one, well, there's not much room for it anyway, so you can't really put a nipple in there to put grease in it. But now that I know, I can get some grease in there once in a while. My reamer set is a chucking reamer set, and so you can run it in the drill. But this reamer is this suspension reamer is a hand set, hand only. So I got this. There we go. That was what the hang-up was. Now it should be cleaned out in there. This is the tap driver out of my gear wrench tap and die set. I cleaned that out with a wire brush, and but I could still feel hang-ups on it when I put stuff in and out of there. So anyway, that cleaned it out, I hope. I think there was a little bit of yeah, that cleaned out that hole pretty good. It's still got some galling in it and stuff. It's still not smooth inside, but it's polished up in the spots that it reached. I think it had a little bit of weld in there from this this nut that they welded on for a Zert nipple, for a Zert fitting. All right, now that fits in there smooth. So this has this is really thick wall tubing here, and I can take a reamer and ream out this end of this a little ways down in there to get that to get the reamer to fit in there. It's a 5/16 inch hole, and but it's tight 5/16. It's not 5/16, but the next smaller reamer fits in there, but the 5/16 doesn't. And 5/16 is what the shank is on the 3/8 inch reamer. If I ream this out 5/16 and then drill this, put a set screw in it, I should be able to use it for a driver. Okay, I got this this tube set up. I set it up in the drill press and reamed out the end here with a 5/16 reamer, which is the size of the shank of this 3/8 inch reamer. And then I drilled it out, center drilled it and drilled it out and tapped it for a 1/4 inch by 20 set screw. Part of the problem that I wound up with is that set screw is proud, stands proud of the tube there. See, it sticks out, so I couldn't put it all together and then slide it down through this bushing. I had to put the reamer here on this because it does stick up inside this bushing a ways, and then I had to push this tube down through the bushing to engage the reamer, and when I got it far enough down in there to turn that set screw in, I was way past the flat that I ground on the set screw. Now this tube is 5/8, and I don't have a drill that'll attach to that, so I'll just turn it by hand, ream it by hand here, and we'll see how that works. Okay, it's through. Now I can take my, maybe, oh yeah, it did come off. Okay, there's the reamer come out. Drop this in here and see how it works. Now it's still offset. Oh, there it goes. Threaded down in there now. There. Oh yeah, that turns pretty good now. Once it's down in there, once it's in there, it works okay. Yeah, with a little bit of grease and oil on it, it'll work a lot better. Okay, now I put a little bit of grease on this jack shaft. Let's see what happens to it now. It doesn't exactly slide right in there. Better than it was. Better than it was. I was worried about doing anything because once you put the fin in, the front leg of the fin goes right in here, and there's a piece of fairing that goes across like that, and once they're in, if this thing wasn't lined up, it'd be hard to fix that. But now that it's all lined up and looking good, then that shouldn't be a problem.